طبعا.
So today we're gonna talk about RDS, which is a database service in AWS, and we have our distinguished co-host today, Yusuf. Welcome to our today's session. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And today we're gonna give a brief introduction. Let me give them a brief introduction about what we're gonna give today. So it's AWS RDS or Relational Database Services. It's one of AWS database services. We have a lot. So yeah. So Yusuf is gonna start by sharing his slide and talking a little bit about AWS, and then we're gonna start. So Yusuf, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أيها المستمعون إلى هذه الدراسة. أنا أبدأ بتعريف وتعارف. اسمي يوسف بن عبد الحكيم. أنا سفير AWS Cloud Security User Group West Africa من جامعة إبادة في نيجيريا. فأنا أرحبكم جميعا إلى جامعتي إلى الجامعة العزيزة لابن عبد العزيز الغرير School of Advanced Computing وأمازون ويب سيرفيس كلاود كلوب في بلاد أردن. فإن دراستنا اليوم تستوعب ما تسمى ب AWS Relational Database Service. We are going to be discussing and we are going to be talking about AWS Relational Database Service. This is a table of content which we are going to cover during this session. We are going to be looking at the introduction of AWS RDS. We are also going to be looking at the key features of AWS RDS, that is Relational Database System. We're also going to look at read replicas, the multi-AZ. We are also going to be looking at the RDS custom. What are the use cases, the cost management of AWS RDS, and what are the other database services that we have. Let's start by the introduction and let's look at what AWS Relational Database System is all about. As we all know that AWS is the leading cloud provider. Relational database system, when we are talking about something that is relational, something that has row and column. And database is very important too. As AWS is leading in cloud solution, we have AWS RDS, which is one of the very important services of AWS, which is AWS RDS. AWS RDS provided by AWS, it aids by simplifying the setup, al-a'mal, operation, and scaling of a relational database in the cloud. When you have the RDS, users, which are the customers, will have the opportunity to deploy their databases in minutes with high availability, automated backups, and automated software patching, which we have the model of pay as you go. You only pay for the resources that you are using or which you have used. Let's look at the key features of AWS RDS. These are one of the key features of AWS RDS. AWS RDS gives you the opportunity of automated management. It gives you the opportunity of automated management. That is, you can manage your database system, which AWS RDS will automatically manage for you. So it gives you that opportunity as one of the features of AWS RDS. Also, high availability and scalability. AWS RDS is always available for you to use. As a customer, AWS RDS is available for you, and anytime you want to use it, it's always available for you to use it. It is also scalable. It also have the feature of security. AWS RDS is highly secured. Your data is highly secured, and you have the backup and recovery. It also gives you the opportunity to monitor your activities on the cloud, which involves the use of AWS CloudWatch, CloudTrail, and AWS Config. It is highly performant. It performs so well, and it supports other database engines like AWS Aurora, Oracle, and some other database engines. What is automated management? Automated management, we are going to be looking at two important things under this, and that is automated backups and automated patching. RDS provides automated backups, which allows customers at one in time for them to be able to recover their database. This automated backup feature also enables you to recover your database to any point within the backup retention period. It is just like a lock, a cupboard, or a box, which it is automated. You keep your belongings in this, and you can access them anytime. Which is what? Automatically, that is, the box is going to be automatically running for you. That is automated backups for AWS RDS. Anytime you can recover your database, you can recover your data, and at any time you can access your data. The automated patching, which allows RDS to perform automatic patching of the database engine and underlying hardware, which ensure it that makes it possible that the database that you're using are always up to date with the latest security patches and features. It keeps updating itself. Now, the high availability and durability of RDS. When you are using the relational database system, it allows you to have a multi-AZ deployment for production workloads. RDS supports multi-AZ deployment to enhance availability and durability. It allows you to have access to your database all the time. Whenever you want to access your database, it allows you, and it is durable. Also, RDS automatically creates a primary database instance and synchronously replicates the data to a standby instance in a different availability zone. As of now, we have different zones for database. When you are looking for a way of maybe we have, like, now in each country they have zones. AWS has zones at different zones, which allows them, which each country may require for the deployment, may require for the the availability of AWS in the country. And this al-mawarid, it gives you the option of when there is any infrastructure failure, the Amazon relational database automatically performs a failover to the standby instance without manual intervention. So this is one of the power of AWS RDS. The scalability. We have two important aspects of the scalability, which is the vertical and the storage. When we're talking about the vertical scaling, the users, which are the customers, has the access to scale the compute and memory resources of their database instance by selecting a new instance type and applying the changes. You can do this with minimal downtime in many cases. And when you're looking at the storage scaling, the storage can be scaled up without affecting database availability, which provides flexibility to grow when your storage requirement, when you want it to increase. أنت تريد أن تريد الزيادة مهما أنك تريد الزيادة من مهما أنك تريد زيادة من تحفيظ من تحفيظ داتا، لابد لك من الأشياء التي تستعمل وتعرف AWS RDS بها هي الاحتجاز وتخزين وما أشبه ذلك. Now, security. One of the important things is that AWS RDS هو الأقرب إلى الشمس وهي الأقل وهو الأقل، وكذلك هي تجتاز وتنضمن encryption أحيانا في الاستراحة بالاستعمال key management services، وكذلك التمادى وزيادة والتفوق في استعمال SSL و TLS. والثالث هي IAM integration. AWS RDS give you the opportunity to integrate IAM to control access to database instances. Integrated access management. والتالي الآن يتضمن backup and recovery. الوقاية، وهذه الوقاية هي مهمة جدا. أنت تريد مثلا أنت احتفظت شيئا واحتفظت ثوبك في الخزان في الخزان، وأنت تريد أو أنت تريدين أنت تريدين أن تستعمل هذا، لابد مهما أنك تريد هذا أنت تذهب إلى هذا ثم تسترجعه وكذلك تنقذه وكذلك تنتعش هذا وكذلك أنت تسترجعه في كل الحين وفي كل حين الذي أنت تريده أو أنت تريد استعماله. وكذلك point in time recovery. RDS Relational Database System allows users to restore database to a specific point in time within the backup retention period, providing protection against data loss or corruption. أحيانا الداتا أنت تريد أن تحفظه من الخسارة وكذلك من فيروس، وكذلك من الفساد وما أشبه ذلك. مهما أنك تريد هذا، لابد أن تستعمل RDS. وكذلك ننظر ونتمادى إلى الأهم: monitoring and metrics. We have Amazon CloudWatch. Amazon CloudWatch allows the users, which is the customers, the end users, which Amazon CloudWatch work together with RDS to provide detailed monitoring metrics for database instances. So users can monitor key metrics such as CPU, memory, storage, and I/O activity. It is just like كمثل الذي هو يعمل في الحقل ويذهب للحقل، وهو يريد أن هذا الحقل أو هذا المزارع أراد أن توزن، أو أراد أن تقيل الماء الذي هو يريد، أو مثلا أراد أن يزرع بيبر، أو أراد أن يزرع تفاح، أراد أن يزرع البرتقال، أو أراد أن يزرع الفول أو الأرز، وأراد أن يقيل يريد أن يقيل أو يوزن الماء الذي هو يريده في الحقل. لابد من الآلة، وهذه الآلة هي التي تقيله، وفي الحين أو في الآخر أو في الحصاد، ويستعمل هذه الآلة لقياس أو الميكال أو الوزن. So Amazon CloudWatch allows monitor key metrics such as CPU, memory, storage, and I/O activity. Also, it provides real-time metrics for the operating system that your database instance runs on, which can provide more in-depth monitoring capabilities. Now let's look at the performance. We have the read replicas and the provisions IOPS. RDS supports read replicas for MySQL, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, and Aurora, which read replicas can be used to offload read traffic from the primary database instance, improving read performance and scalability. We also have the provisioned IOPS, which Relational Databases System offers provisioned IOPS, which could be storage for applications with high I/O requirements, which ensure consistent performance. What are the other the database engines which RDS support? We have the Amazon Aurora, we have the PostgreSQL and Oracle. We also have the Microsoft SQL Server. We also have the MariaDB and MySQL. Let's go to the next one, which is the read replicas.
Well, Yusuf, I want to ask you, what is your favorite database engine? I think mine is, what's your favorite database engine?
Okay. The favorite database engine is, we can use all of these. All of them are very beautiful to use. You can use depending on what you are working for, what you are working towards. Amazon Aurora is beautiful. MySQL is wonderful. PostgreSQL is great. MariaDB is great. Oracle is beautiful. And Microsoft SQL Server is top-notch. It's wonderful.
Really,
All of these are wonderful.
I think my favorite, because I've used it a lot, is PostgreSQL. So
Okay.
actually, I know a lot of companies here in Jordan that work on PostgreSQL.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazon Aurora 2 is wonderful too.
yeah. Or of course, it's wonderful, especially with the capabilities that come from. I think tomorrow, not tomorrow, or maybe I think the 7th of August, we're gonna talk a little bit more about Aurora, to be specific.
Thank you so much. Now, the replicas that we're going to be discussing is the definition. We look at definition and the purpose. Read replicas in Amazon RDS are designed to support read-heavy database workloads and improve the performance and availability of your applications. So, by this, it provides a mechanism for replicating data from a source database instance to one or more read-only replicas. Some of the use cases of RDS is you can use it for scaling read workloads, which when you have an application that needs the high read traffic, you can use your Amazon RDS for such. And the read replicas can help you to distribute the load. Okay, when you need a backup and recovery, you can use the RDS to perform database backups and the recovery patient without impacting the primary database instance. Also, we have the disaster recovery. There are many cross regions which read replicas provide an effective disaster recovery solutions for. These are some of the considerations that we're going to be looking at. The read replicas, they are read-only, the write operations which cannot be performed directly on them. They also have a replication lag, although these replication lag are usually minimal. It's usually minimal that needs to be considered for applications requiring near real-time data consistency. Now
So,
let's look at
uh,
the
let's summarize read only before we go into multi-easy disaster recovery. So, guys, if you remember when we were talking about Linux, we had read, write, and execute permissions. So let's write it down. So read, write, and execute. Of course, when you want to write something, you're going to either add it or modify it. And if you want to read something, you only have permission to read it without modifying it. And if you want to execute, you're going to have to do like something like code, runtime, and stuff. So some applications don't really need, like, let's say the weather. So if you have a weather application, you only need to read the temperature and that's it. So read temperature. But if you have a login database, this is where you're gonna have a write and read permission. So based on your application and use case, sometimes there's high read, uh, like the weather application that we have said. So maybe if we're making a database that's only for a read replication, it's just for read permissions, and that's it. You can't write on it. It would be very good for your business case. It's gonna be faster, and it's gonna help your business case a lot. So I think read replicas are really important, especially if you have a business case that needs to have this kind of database. Yeah, sorry, Yusuf, you can continue now.
نعم طيب حسنا شكرا. نعم طيب. Now let's look at the multi-AZ disaster recovery. Okay, I can see you, Sam. So I will convert my presentation to English now. So, but because of those of us who are Arabist here, so that's why I'm switching it with Arabic language. Sorry for that. So the multi-AZ availability zone deployment in Amazon RDS ensures high availability and durability for your database instances, which automatically replicate the database across multiple availability zones within an AWS region. Okay, before we continue, please try to give some AWS regions that we have. You can place that on the chat group. So these are the use cases. There is the production databases, which ensures high availability and fault tolerance for production databases. We also have the business continuity. The business continuity ensures the minimal downtime during maintenance or unexpected outages. So your business will always continue. You don't have to panic, and every time there is nothing like there is downtime or there is no access, and also am I going to lose my data or not? No, you are not going to lose your data because it has the disaster recovery, which provides an automated disaster. This RDS provides an automated disaster recovery solutions within a region. Now, the multi availability zone deployment is primarily focused on high availability rather than read scaling. So for the scaling, read replicas should be used. So you have to note that. And there is a cost associated with multi-availability zone deployment due to the additional resources used for standby instances. Now let's look at the RDS custom. RDS Custom is a managed database service that provides more customization and control over your database environment. So it allows users to customize the underlying database infrastructure and software configurations to meet specific requirements that are not supported by the standard RDS configuration. The use cases, there's a legacy applications. When you have some of the applications that require specific database configurations or customizations not supported by standard RDS, you can use it. There's high customization needs. There are workloads that require custom scripts, software installations, or configurations. We also have the extended database functionality. When additional database functionalities such as custom extensions or plugins are needed, you can go for this. The considerations. The RDS custom provides more control, but also requires more management compared to standard RDS instances. These are some of the things that you need to note between the RDS custom and standard RDS instances. Number two is it ensures that the additional control and customization capabilities are necessary for your use case to justify the increased management overhead. Let's look at the use cases. These are some of the use cases you can use for web app and mobiles. You can also use for data warehousing. Beautiful. The cost management. It is on demand. You pay for database instance by the hour with no long-term commitment. You pay as you go. That is the model. Then savings over on-demand pricing for users who commit to using RDS for 1 or 3 year term. So it is reserved. Then we have the auroral surveillance. This auroral surveillance is unpredictable workloads. It has unpredictable workloads where the database automatically starts up, shuts down, and scales capacity based on your needs. Let's look at the other database services. We have AWS DynamoDB, we have AWS Redshift, we have AWS Document DB, we have AWS Neptune, we have AWS Elastic Cache, we have AWS Memory DB. So thank you. My name is Abdul Hakim Yusuf Ademola, and thanks. So before we move to the next presentation, which I'm going to be using one of the prepared slides of one of the senior database manager in AWS. If you have any question, you can reach out to me on my email, or you reach out to the Captain Maya, which is under the text of So if you have a question, you can raise up your hand.
I think we should have talked a little bit more about the other database services, like let's say that document DBS. It's compatible with MongoDB, and DynamoDB is a NoSQL database that goes with JSON scripts, and Redshift is for something what's called a data warehousing services. AWS Neptune is what's called a graph SQL, so it's used for graph like social media and like it's literally like Facebook. So if you have a friend request and this friend request and you have like a mutual friend between one another, you're gonna see that you're a mutual friend for that friend. So this is used by GraphSQL, which is Neptune. Elasticache is for a MemoryDB, or both are similar, I guess. They're for caching and in-memory databases. So yeah, thank you, Yusuf. Let's go to the next slide.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to share the. So this was presented by Aditya Samant, which is a senior database specialist solutions architect at AWS. So it was presented 2021, and they are looking at the new solutions and new resources around Amazon RDS. So Amazon Relational Database RDS is a managed relational database service with a choice of popular database engines. Some of these engines are Amazon Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL Server, and Oracle. And one of the things that the customers were requesting for from AWS is how could we have some of these other relational database or more of these other database system? And this Amazon RDS of a thing is easy to administer. You can easily deploy and maintain your hardware, your operating system, and your database software, which could be built-in monitoring. And it helps you to scale compute and storage with a few clicks. That is, there's minimal downtime for your application. It's also automatic. It has automatic multi-AZ data replications and automated backups like snapshots and failover. When you're talking about the security, data encryptions is at rest and in transit. It assists customers achieving their compliance goals through tooling. So Amazon Relational Database Service is a top-notch in terms of security. So these are some of the areas that customers ask AWS to innovate. How it should be easy to use, the price, performance, the durability and availability, the security and compliance, and the choice. So let's start from the choice. Some of the local regions were requesting for AWS server. They are requesting for hosting AWS. So by 2021, there is a new public cloud regions, and there's Amazon RDS on some AWS outposts, some other places like local places like local region like Japan, and some other local regions. There's also new database versions and features. As out of now, as out of 2021, there are about 25 regions and there are about 80 availability zones. Some of these local zones are in Boston, they are in Miami and Austin. Some of them have extension to United States East, Virginia, and there are some of these 3 AZs at Japan, at Osaka local regions. So the RDS on Outpost, some of these customers, they were requesting for it. They are looking at the data residency requirement, which we are looking at the regulatory, because each locality has their own regulatories of their database, and the contractual aspect, and the IT driven. So they also look at the latency sensitive applications of RDS. So that is why RDS is now available on Outposts now, and it has hybrid deployment options. So the RDS has the interface to manage the database on premises and AWS regions. Some of these features, we have the database engine, which includes MySQL, PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL Server. The administrations it helps in provisioning, setting up, and modifications. It also has the manual and automated backups in region. It also has point in time restore. When you look at the performance, we have the M5 and R5 generation now, and there's a storage GP2 by default. So the AWS is now available. It has Amazon CloudWatch event, which helps to monitor the usage of how your works, how your costs is running, so that you won't overuse your resources. These are the new database versions and features. We have the PostgreSQL. The PostgreSQL now, it has PostgreSQL 13 major version support. It also has the new minor version support 12.5, 11.10, 10.15, 9.620, and 9.524. We have the PG cron and the PG BIGM extension for scheduling jobs and full text support. So they have the MySQL, and these are the features: the MariaDB, the Microsoft SQL Server, and Oracle. Now, the security. Let's look at the security. Some of the reasons why AWS is looking at the extension of RDS security and compliance is AWS wants your database to be secured, to have access to your database anytime, at any point. So Amazon RDS Data API now supports FIPS 142 validated endpoints. If you require use of FIPS 142 validated cryptographic modules, you can now do so with Amazon RDS Data API. We have the FIPS 142 validated endpoints for Data API, which are available for both the CLI and API calls. The Amazon RDS for Oracle and Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL is encrypted cross-region automated backups. You have the RDS for Oracle versions 12.1 and higher. All editions of Oracle now, you have it. RDS for PostgreSQL version 9.6 and higher, which the regions includes the US East, the EU Central, European Union West 1, and AP Northeast. The durability now and availability is, it is now available about several regions, which has automated backups. It is available at any time, any time in point that you want to access it. So let's look at the RDS cross-region automated backups. So the Amazon RDS cross-region automated backups, it allows you to automatically copy snapshots and transaction logs to other regions. It also allows you to separate retention, and now it supports RDS for SQL Server and supports all editions of RDS for SQL Server. It also issues a point-in-time restore from target region in the event of a disaster. So these are the Amazon's RDS availability enhancements for PostgreSQL and Microsoft SQL Server, which is always on AG support for standard edition. The price performance. We have AWS Graphition 2 instances support in new regions. So AWS RDS on Graphiton 2 processors is now available in North California, Canada, Sao Paulo, and London region, which allows you to, if you look at this graph now, if you look at the thread, you see that it is moving higher, it is increasing at the db.mcg, it's increasing when it got, and is increasing at a point in time and decreasing at a point in time. It's increasing at a decreasing rate. So if you also look at the updates for MySQL, MC's G v5 for db.m5, look at the thread now for MySQL. When it gets to around 15,000, it decreases. It increases, decreasing at a decreasing rate. So we also have the RDS proxy now. It has the read replica support, and it has multiple VPT connect and RDS for PostgreSQL, for which it has the features of AWS Lambda. So the Amazon RDS proxy has Lambda, Ruby, PHP, connection pooling, seamless failover, and improved security, which includes, we have the Amazon RDS and the Amazon Aurora, which the instance access management, you could only have your username plus password, and you also have the secret manager. So, well, application through the Amazon RDS to the database system, it allows you to share your database connections between transactions with multiplexing, and detection of section state altering operations causes pinning. Also, application connection preserved during failover. It is fast, it is seamless failover. It can also detect failover and connect to standby quicker by bypassing DNS caches. It has up to 66% faster failover times. So look at this graph now. If you look at it, look at how, monitor it, the MariaDB Aurora driver, look at the proxy, look at how the proxy is moving, look at where it is rising, look at the direct MariaDB and Aurora driver. So RDS proxy read replica support. The customers, when they are ready to have the applications, they go to the proxy writer endpoint, which is new, which you have the Aurora writer instance and Aurora read replica to that. It also have the ability to create a RDS proxy read endpoint for Aurora replicas. So the same thing. Now let's go to the RDS for PostgreSQL Lambda support. We have the RDS database, which has the Lambda function now. You can call a Lambda function from RDS for PostgreSQL, and it's going to trigger serverless Lambda function based on database events. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Yusuf, for the amazing lecture and those amazing slides. Those are a bit advanced, especially the proxy part and stuff like this, but it's good to have these kind of knowledge for the solutions architect exam. So these, especially these topics that you have talked about in this lecture or in this um, slide is for a solutions architect moreover. And thank you for everything. It was a very informative lecture, and I want to thank you again and again. And we have the pleasure for you to be one of the lecturers and co-hosting in our AWS series. Let me stop the recording.